Hey guys, so I figure I will do a get ready with me and a story time. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and do my makeup and tell you guys about the time that my apartment was haunted. And I just want to do a quick disclaimer that this story is going to involve like my drug use, but I think that the reason that I was opened up to those types of realms is because of the drugs that I was on. And just because of the overwhelming good response that I've gotten on Instagram from people congratulating me on being clean, that just goes to show, like how at this time, whenever I was on drugs and my apartment was haunted, I wasn't aware of metaphysics and the way things like that worked. And whenever I would notice things that were unseen, I saw everyone else acting normal, so I would just pretend like it was normal or pretend like I didn't notice. And I didn't realize until years down the road that I was opening myself up to other realms and low vibrations because of what I was putting in my body. I didn't have the wisdom to connect the dots back then, so I would just usually, think I was crazy and try to ignore it and try to act normal and keep getting high. But yeah, so that's why I think that I was able to have experiences like that because I feel like, especially meth, it opens up different dimensions, like bad dimensions, and you can see, hear, and feel things that others can't necessarily. And it just heightens the low vibrational entities around you. It like attracts them to you. So yeah. But anyways, okay. So let's see what year this happened. It must have been 2014 or 2015 because I had just gotten out of prison. And okay, so 3 months out of prison, I actually got raided by the police at the hotel I was staying at. I was staying at a hotel, selling meth out of a hotel. And whenever I sat in jail for a month, and I told myself, I was actually on parole in Louisiana, and I told myself, okay, I am going to be more stable and more responsible, and I'm going to have an actual apartment where I pay bills and go home. I can't just sell meth out of a hotel. So that was my game plan. I was going to go, and as soon as I got out, get more meth to sell, and I was going to actually have an apartment that I didn't sell meth out of. So that was my plan. In my head, that was a solid plan. So, yeah, I didn't have good guidance growing up, and so I just kind of like ran the streets, and so I lived that way for a really long time. But I did learn a lot. I learned that I can deal with all types of people, and I can do anything I put my mind to, and I can make my ends meet by any means necessary. But anyways, so yeah, I needed to find. I actually had moved in with my boyfriend's mother. Now, my boyfriend at the time was sentenced to 15 years for trafficking, and so he wasn't there. He was already in jail or prison by then, but I think he might have been in jail. I'm not sure, but anyway, yeah. So I went and stayed at his mom's house, and God, I was on drugs, so I would be like secretly like smoking meth in the bathroom, and I just hated being in people's way. And I guess that comes from my childhood of always feeling like I'm in the way. That's the way my stepmom treated me. Like I needed to get out of her way. So I always felt, even as an adult, like afraid to be in people's way. So of course I'm super uncomfortable living at someone else's house, and I want to get out of there as soon as possible, right? So of course I was selling meth, and I was riding around a certain area of town that I really liked, and I was looking for a place to live. Now, I would find like the smallest, shittiest apartments I could because I didn't have very much money, but I just needed something, and so I found this one place, and It was like two strips of apartments. Damn it, what's wrong with this thing? It was like two strips of apartments, and it had about 5 apartments on each side, and they were facing each other, and they were like the small, like the shittiest, most broke down thing you ever saw. But I was thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and call them and see if I can afford this. Do you know how much it cost me to move in? $175 and $175 a week. So I was like, shit, I'll take it. You know, like anything to get out from my boyfriend's mother's house. I was so uncomfortable, like taking help from someone. So I was like, okay, I go ahead and move in here. So I moved in. I think it took me like 6 weeks to find that place, like 6 weeks of living with her. And I love her so much. I so appreciate her. She tried to help me and try to help me get my life together, and I just wasn't ready yet. So I really do appreciate her for at least her kindness and her understanding of my addiction, you know? Because it wasn't just an addiction to drugs. I was addicted to selling drugs. Therefore, I had an unlimited quantity at wholesale price. And selling drugs helped me be even more toxic and not have to be accountable to a job or learning a trade or having responsibilities. So I was just like in my own little fucking cocoon of toxicity. I was a toxic person, and I was like comfortable in my toxicity, and my toxic habits paid my bills. You know what I mean? Like it was just a sick little fucking snowball. But anyways, so yeah, so I moved into this apartment, and like I said, I would notice weird shit all the time, like around people and like visions, and I would just, you know, write it off thinking it was the meth. And I would see other people who were like, you know, we were like a dealer community, and I would see other people act completely normal and like nothing bothered them and they weren't paranoid. And I would just try and play off my paranoia like, oh, I'm a pro, I'm fine, I'm not paranoid, you know, but I really would be like low key nervous as fuck all the time. And I kind of got used to living in my little meth psychosis. But anyway, so that allowed me to ignore the experiences that I would have at this apartment. And I'll tell you at the end of the story how I found out for sure that it was haunted. And it wasn't just in my head. Because a lot of times I wrote off things that, okay, it's just in my head, it's just in my head, it's just the meth, it's just the meth. But, so yeah, so living at this apartment, like, I noticed little weird things happen, like, the first thing I noticed, I think, my light bulbs would blow. Like, I'd just be chilling, hanging out, you know, sitting at my little vanities, doing my makeup, smoking a bowl, listening to music, and one of my light bulbs would just explode. And that happened, like, a good handful of times. And at first, I thought it was, like, something about, like, the power surge, like, you know what I mean? Like, something was wrong with the electricity, but it would happen at different areas of the house, like consistently, you know, and it was like happening all the time. It was weird. And then the next thing that I noticed, so I'm always like painting my nails and my toenails, right? I love nail polish. And one time I just looked over and I was just like, I think I was just being quiet, like listening. Because I used to do that on meth all the time. I would like think I heard something and I'd be like listening for what I could hear. And like as I was looking at this bottle of nail polish, I kid you not, this nail polish bottle exploded. Like it was sitting on the floor and it just exploded. And I just cleaned it up and I was like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. I was like, dude, this place is haunted. You know, I just knew it. But yeah. See, I need to time my makeup doing with my storytelling, so I need to make some more progress. But yeah, my friend was over there at my house with me at that time. She saw it. I mean, I don't know if she saw it, but she saw the bottle after it exploded, and she was like, whoa. I mean, it's so hard to get your eyebrows even. So yeah, I just cleaned up the nail polish and like kept it moving, right? Um, and then another time, I remember I was in my bathroom and I had the water running to take a shower. And I was looking in the mirror. And I was smoking a bowl, looking in the mirror, and I heard this ear piercing scream. But it was so weird because it was like it wasn't one of the neighbors. I swear it sounded like it came from inside the wall. Like, I can't tell you how I know that. I just know it. It came from inside the wall. And like, I just couldn't even believe it. I was like, what? What the fuck? You know, like, that's crazy. And I always would get really creeped out while I was taking a shower. But you know what? I kind of miss that apartment sometimes. Like, it was my little spot. You know what I mean? I've lived alone a lot and I really enjoy it. So if you put your birth information into Vedic astrology software, if your moon is placed by itself with no planets on either side of it, on either house beside it, you may enjoy solitude. You may enjoy being alone. So my Navamsha, my D9 chart, and my birth chart. My moon is by itself, so I don't mind being alone at all. I actually really do enjoy it. But sometimes the loneliness will manifest itself as isolation and it can become unhealthy. And I think that's another thing that lowered my vibration was being alone too much and just being alone doing drugs too much. And, you know, as long as I could make that 175 a week, I would have somewhere to live. And so I would just be alone doing drugs, being spooked out, basically. But yeah, I used to get really creeped out in that shower. You know what else? And I don't know if this had anything to do with the house being haunted, but I would always smell like a gas leak. And I would tell the landlord, and he would come in there and be like, I don't smell it. Or whenever I would tell him, and he would come there or come there to collect the rent money, um, he wouldn't smell it. And oh, another thing that happened. So I had in a picture frame a picture of me and my boyfriend, the one that was in prison, and the situation of him being in prison also caused me to be very upset. And I think that I was being very toxic because I was trying to, or I wasn't trying, I was paying for his attorney for him to get um, an appeal. And he actually did end up appealing the case. But I think me putting so much energy into someone who was abusive to me was also attracting low vibrational situations to me because I knew what I was doing was wrong and that he wasn't good for me, but I just loved him and I just wanted to be with him and he was all that mattered. And so I would just be really lonely and depressed a lot over that situation. But one day I came home and there was a picture of us that I had up on the shelf. It was like a little built-in shelf and it was on the ground and it was broken. And the place where I had this picture frame, you guys, was not close to the edge. Like, it didn't make any sense for it to be on the ground broken. No one was there, you know? Yeah, and then sometimes like certain people I would see like evil energy coming off of them, and I don't know if it had anything to do with that apartment. There was this one lady in particular. And okay, so I would also be doing a lot of scoop, GHB, commonly known as the date rape drug. It was my favorite. But so I would do a lot of it for like a few weeks, and then whenever I would get sick from it, because it makes you have withdrawals. Whenever I would be withdrawing from it, I would get like super like psychotic and delusional. And I would be like, my perceptions of the world would be so distorted and like fucked up. And sometimes I wouldn't even know who I was. Like, you guys, I was fucking dwelling in my own fucking drug hell. Like, I was such a sick person. So yeah, whenever people on Instagram want to make fun of my scars, like, bitch, I'm fucking stable, balanced, healthy. Like, I'm doing so good. You have no fucking idea how fucking gone I was for how many years. And the fact that I started my own company, I'm clean, I'm fucking focused, balanced, healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me shit about myself. You want to make fun of my skin? You have no idea how bad off I used to be. So the fact that I'm actually organized and focused enough to be able to sit here and create a YouTube channel, you can't tell me shit. You really can't. You can't. People are just nasty, you know? He's so nasty, and that's just the type of people that they are. They can't even help it. You know what I mean? They don't even realize it. People will just insult you just to be nasty. And I feel bad for people like that, you know, that don't even realize how what they're saying and calling people is affecting them. And not only the person that they're calling it to, but it's affecting themselves as well. So, with that being said, I really appreciate those of you that are kind and supportive to me. You know, I love y'all too. So yeah, let's see. Where was I? So I don't know if this one time that I was withdrawing off Scoop in that apartment, I don't know if it has to do with the apartment being haunted, but, you know, perhaps it was just a really dark time of my life. I don't know if it had to do with the apartment, but okay, so I was withdrawing off Scoop and I was in psychosis. It's almost like alcohol withdrawal. Like it really fucks with your head and it can make you go crazy. So, and Scoop is the type of Scoop that I was doing is floor stripper. Floor stripper, okay? So think about becoming addicted to floor stripper and then having to come off of it. Like, that's a strong ass chemical, okay? So anyway, I would be detoxing off Scoop and I would be like psychotic. Like, I didn't know who I was or where I was or what time it was, like what time in the universe, like what year it was. And I would think that I was back, you guys, this is crazy. I would think that I was back in the 1800s and that there was a war going on. And I would look outside and I would see like some people, like some cars were on one side of the war and they were going downwards, and some cars were on the other side of the war and they were going up and they were going to be okay, and the other people were not going to be okay. And it was just like a fucking really, like, I knew my perception was wrong and it was distorted and I knew I was confused. And sometimes I would call my boyfriend's mom and like go to her house and just sleep at her house and detox. And she knew I was coming off something, and that, you know, she would just come there and like help me take a shower and change my sheets. Like she just knew that I was fucked up, and she didn't want to ask too many questions, but she was just there for me. Thank God, because at that time of my life, my parents were not. There was no trace of anyone. Any type of support system was nil. All I had was my dealers and the people I dealt with, people I sold to, I had a few of them that were my friends, but like, how good of a friend can you be when you're strung out? You know what I mean? I only have a couple of those friends left, and I love them to death. A couple of these people I'm still in contact with, but yeah, just really glad that I made it out on the other side. But so yeah, this one time that I knew there was a war going on, and I started thinking that the only way for me to escape this hell was to commit. Wait, I'm gonna have to edit that out. I'm not supposed to say that on YouTube, I think. The only way for me to escape the hell that I was in and go to heaven was to commit S. And these things that were like tormenting me. Okay, so I would have like posters of like Scarface and Al Capone and stuff like that. Like I used to glorify gangsters and all that stuff before I realized like what's truly important in life, which is creating stability and sustenance and being around family and friends, like that's what's important. But at this time of my life, I didn't realize these things yet, and I just had a way of life. So I didn't understand that that type of lifestyle gets you nowhere but dead or in prison. So yeah, these low vibrational entities made me think that I had to commit S to escape and go to heaven. And that was the only way I could go to heaven was if I committed S. And I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. Knew I was right. Because I used to get S whenever I was younger. And so, yeah, that was really a dark time. I'm so glad I didn't do anything to take my precious life. And so, how did I find out this place was officially haunted? Okay, so I moved out and ended up moving to some other place or whatever. And I want to say a couple months down the road, my friend's daughter and her best friend ended up moving in my old apartment. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I miss it there. Da 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 da. You know? And so even though it was a one bedroom with like a living room area, they were going to make it, and a lot of people who lived there did this, they were going to make it a 2 bedroom and like have the living room as a bedroom and the bedroom as a bedroom. So they did that, and let me tell you something, you guys. The only thing that I can make sense out of why the landlord did not tell me and told them is because maybe he knew that since I lived alone, he didn't want to scare me. But he told them that the apartments that I was living in were once a shelter for women and children during the war, the Civil War. And he told them that the place was haunted. And so they would have stuff happening, and I would hear from them about it. And they would get creeped out, and they would come, they would leave there and come back over to her dad's and stuff. And I'm trying to get these eyelashes on. I don't know if I should wear those. They're a little bit too messed up, you know what I'm saying? Too uneven. Try to recycle my eyelashes. I mean, as long as you take them off and don't sleep in them, you can rewear them quite a few times. But yeah, I think the landlord just didn't tell me because he didn't want me to be afraid because I was alone. It's the only thing that I can chalk it up to. He just told them off jump, like, by the way, it's haunted. Everyone knows it. I'm like, damn, why didn't he tell me? I was sitting there trying to ignore it and act like everything was fine. So yeah, that happened. And one of the girls that lived in this apartment actually, like, after, okay, my friend's daughter, it was my friend's daughter and her friend. And her friend was like going through addictions herself, and she was abusing Xanax like really bad. And I guess my friend's daughter ended up moving out because she was acting crazy. And probably like a week or two after she moved out, her friend got a murder charge. So she like set someone up to get robbed and got accessory to murder or something crazy like that. But it's crazy. I'm glad she got out of there when she did. And so yeah, it was confirmed by the landlord that the place was haunted. I used to get so freaked out over there. Oh my god. But yeah, weird stuff would happen while she was there, and I would hear about it, and I'd be like, yup. And so yeah, as I study metaphysics and just gather more information for myself, I have a theory that when traumatizing like events happen, and especially when lives are lost, that the situation holds energy. And just because those people are no longer dwelling there, the energy is still resonating. So sometimes things that happen that are traumatizing and sudden and lives are taken, it leaves like a little cloud of energy and sometimes a loop of the situation that happened. So it'll just be on play. It'll be on repeat until the energy is cleansed, or I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly how that works, but it definitely happens. So yeah, this is the final look. And thank you so much for watching. Now that Mercury has finally gone direct, I should be able to fix my iCloud. For those of you who don't know, Mercury goes retrograde about 4 times a year, and it can affect electronics and communication. So I personally am particularly affected by Mercury retrograde because my Atmakarka, my planet holding the highest degree in my birth chart, is Mercury. So I am extremely affected by Mercury retrograde. So hopefully I can get that iCloud backed up and upload some more video logs, which I've already recorded. But be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment. That way, um, the algorithm will suggest my videos to others, and more people can catch on and continue to show me support, and I will continue with the content. So yeah, Don't you know I love you to death? You're the most beautiful thing God ever created. Long live the infinite creator.